Hello everyone, Dark of All Trades here. As this video comes out, I am away from my hometown doing one of my favorites of my many other trades. So I'm not in the live chat today, but no worries on that. I want to get back to what I do best here on the internets, and that is answering questions. So for today, I'm responding to a series of shorts from a channel called Apostle Macario. I hope I'm pronouncing that right, and apologies if I'm not. Wait. Why did he cut off most of his head here in the banner? Weird editing choice. Is he trying to show off the watch? I don't know. Anyway, AM here has put out 7 shorts that I was able to find, put up as parts with questions for Atheist? I'm not sure why the title is a question. Maybe he isn't sure if they're for atheists? Maybe he isn't sure that they are questions? I'm not sure. Curious punctuation aside, I haven't seen them yet. But if he only has 7 questions, I suspect they're going to be the best, most thought out questions he has, and surely he won't ask them with any kind of smugness. Of course, even if he does, I'm still going to address them as if he asked them honestly. I'm going to try to answer all of them, but if they're really bad, I may ignore one or several. Before I start, let's do a little thought exercise. This may be a bit tough for some, but I'm willing to bet you're up for the challenge. For my atheist viewers, if you were a theist, what question would you have for atheists? Put them in the comments below. I'm going to start with part 1 and hopefully the best questions that AM here has for atheists.
Only heaven silence for an answer.
Question for atheists.
Now hang on a second. What is this in the description? He still hasn't found one atheist that can answer any of these questions? Well, maybe AM is not looking. Maybe he's in an echo chamber. Churches are like that a lot of the time. Everyone at the church believes roughly the same thing when it comes to their religion. There is no diversity of thought when it comes to their religion inside of their church. I continue to hear stories about atheists who were in Sunday school as children and asked questions because they could see the issues in the Bible. And rather than give them even a satisfactory answer, they were instead asked to not come back next week. Well, AM, I know plenty of atheists, and chances are very good that some number of them are able to answer some or all of your questions. But I cut them off. Let's find out what question 1 is.
If man evolved from apes, why have we not seen apes evolve yet? That is the question.
I'm not sure why this is a question for atheists. Not every atheist accepts the fact of evolution, and they don't have to in order to be an atheist. This would be akin to asking a Christian, why does the communion cracker literally turn into the physical body of Mr. Jesus? Not all Christians think it does, nor is that belief a requirement to be a Christian. I am not an evolutionary biologist, but let me address this directly. The answer is, we have seen apes evolve, though the question is a little bit malformed. It is slightly better than, though very similar to, the if man evolved from apes, why are there still apes question. Humans, that is Homo sapiens, evolved from Homo heidelbergensis, which is also considered to be the most recent common ancestor to Neanderthals and Denisovans. I'll leave a link to the Smithsonian Magazine article which talks more about the evolution of the Homo sapiens in the description. Humans are part of the great ape category, so human evolution would qualify as a species of ape evolving. Also, I'll leave a link to an excellent video by 2 biologists who specialize in the study of apes, though slightly different focuses. Forrest Valkai and Gutsick Gibbon made a video called What is a Human? If you want a bit more information on how we determine what a human is and what distinguishes us apart from the other great apes, it is worth your time, even if you're just a little bit interested. But I'm guessing AM here actually meant non-human apes. For this, I want to touch on a few points. One of the problems with this question is that it presumes that, if evolution is happening, we should see evolution on some macro scale. Evolution tends to take a really long time for animals like mammals. Evolution is an ongoing process, but it occurs over these long timescales, making it difficult to observe significant changes within a human lifetime. However, ongoing studies and fossil records provide evidence of continuous evolutionary changes in all species, including non-human apes. Evolution is not a linear process with a specific direction. As I alluded to, humans and modern apes share a common ancestor that lived millions of years ago. Both lineages have evolved independently since then. The apes we see today are not the same as the ones that lived millions of years ago. They have undergone significant changes over time. Here's some examples. Chimpanzees and bonobos are the closest living relatives to humans and have evolved unique social behaviors and physical adaptations. Bonobos, for instance, are known for their peaceful and matriarchal societies, which are quite different from the chimpanzee social structures. Gorillas have evolved into distinct species, such as the eastern and western gorillas, each adapted to their specific environments. Eastern gorillas tend to live in mountainous regions, while western gorillas inhabit lowland rainforests. Orangutans have two species, the Bornean and the Sumatran orangutans, each with adaptations to their different island habitats. They have developed unique survival strategies, such as their arboreal lifestyle and use of tools. All apes, including humans, continue to evolve in response to their environment. Changes in diets, habitat, social structures, and interactions with other species drive evolutionary adaptations. Chimpanzees and orangutans have been observed using tools in the wild. This behavior is a sign of cognitive evolution and adaptation to their environments. Gorillas have developed specialized diets depending on their environment. For example, mountain gorillas primarily eat leaves and stems, while lowland gorillas consume more fruit. Modern apes have undergone genetic changes over time. Studies of their genomes reveal evolutionary adaptations related to immunity, brain function, and other important traits. So like I said, we do see that apes have evolved and continue to evolve. So outside of a misunderstanding of evolution at best, we aren't off to a terrible start. Well, let's look at question 2.
Questions for atheists. How could something be created from an explosion? That is the question.
Again, not a question that an atheist needs to know or accept. Atheists are not required to believe this mischaracterization of the Big Bang, or even anything close to it happened. But okay, I want to address it directly. Easy. Take a piece of metal and add an explosion. The explosion can create shrapnel. Therefore, something was created from an explosion. But really, he is alluding to the Big Bang. First of all, the Big Bang wasn't an explosion per se. It was a rapid expansion of the universe. Here's a Live Science article titled, "Was the Big Bang really an explosion?" In it, it states, quote, "An explosion implies that something exploded or expanded from one center point outward into space. In fact, the Big Bang theory suggests that space itself expanded," end quote. The Big Bang is often misunderstood as an explosion in space, but in reality, as I said, it is more accurately described as a rapid expansion of space itself. Let me touch on a few key points to help clarify this concept. The Big Bang wasn't an explosion of matter into pre-existing space. Rather, it was the expansion of space itself from an extremely hot, dense state. There was no center or specific location where it occurred. It happened everywhere simultaneously. The Big Bang marks the beginning of space and time as we understand them. Before this event, the concepts of space and time didn't exist in the way that we experience them. Imagine the universe as a balloon with dots on it. As the balloon inflates, the dots move away from each other. Similarly, as space expands, galaxies move away from each other. This expansion is happening everywhere, not from a single point. We have mountains of evidence supporting the Big Bang theory as the best explanation for the current state of the universe. The cosmic microwave background radiation is the afterglow of the Big Bang, detected as a faint microwave radiation filling the universe, providing a snapshot of the early universe. Observations show that galaxies are moving away from us, with farther galaxies moving faster, indicating that the universe is expanding. The proportions of hydrogen, helium, and other light elements observed in the universe match the predictions of Big Bang nucleosynthesis. Following the Big Bang, the universe cooled and matter began to clump together under the force of gravity, forming stars, galaxies, and other structures. This process took billions of years and is still ongoing. By understanding that the Big Bang is just the rapid expansion of space and the start of our local presentation of time and matter, rather than the characterization of an explosion, we get a clearer picture of the universe's origins. But let's pretend that it was an explosion, at least of some kind. The Big Bang itself didn't create anything. There are zero demonstrable examples of anything coming to existence ex nihilo. If there were an explosion of some kind, it would be something that already existed, that is, the initial singularity, separating into everything in the universe today. But maybe I'm incorrect in my assessment that he's referring to the Big Bang. Maybe he just wants to know about what explosions can do. Explosions can indeed create various forms of matter and structures, though the process is very different from the Big Bang. Here are some examples of how explosions can lead to the creation or transformation of matter. Supernovae are massive explosions that occur at the end of a star's life cycle. A supernova explosion can create heavy elements like gold, silver, and uranium, which are then scattered into space. These elements can later become part of new stars, planets, and other celestial bodies. Supernova explosions can create nebulae, which are clouds of gas and dust. These nebulae can eventually collapse under gravity to form new stars and planetary systems. For example, the famous Crab Nebula is the remnant of a supernova explosion. Here on Earth, chemical explosions like those in fireworks displays or a volcanic eruption can create new compounds and substances. The energy released in these explosions can cause chemical reactions that produce new materials. Controlled explosions are used in mining, construction, and demolition to break apart rocks and structures, creating new landscapes and exposing new material. In this context, explosions are tools for creating changes in physical structures. Explosions themselves generate shock waves that can compress materials, leading to the formation of new mineral structures. For example, the intense pressure from an explosion can create diamonds from carbon. Two sources for this are in the description. While these examples show that explosions can lead to the creation or transformation of matter and structures, it's important to differentiate them from the Big Bang, which I'm surprised I keep having to say was not an explosion, but rather a rapid expansion of space and the beginning of our local presentation of time and matter. Explosions in the more conventional sense involve the rapid release of energy in a localized area, whereas the Big Bang involved the entire universe and its fundamental components. This was a bit too close to the "how can something come from nothing" question that I hear all too often, but it was technically different. Not too bad though. Let's see question 3.
Questions for atheists. If Earth and nature is called mother, who is nature's father? That is the question.
Oh, I hope you all had your face palming and head desking protection. First of all, not everything that has a mother also has a father. There are species that reproduce asexually. Shout out to my fellow aces. Parthenogenesis is a real thing, and with it, there's no need for a male of the species for reproduction. Aside from that, the term Mother Nature and Mother Earth, essentially the same thing, is a personification of nature. From what I can tell, it bases back as far as the 13th or 12th century BCE with Mother Gaia in Mycenaean Greek. If this were the case, then perhaps nature's father could be Uranus or Pontus, both which were also Gaia's offspring, or Tartarus, who was created right after Gaia. Though this idea could go back as far as the pre-Babylonian civilizations, which recognized Tiamat, Mother Earth. Though in that case, the father would be Abzu, the groundwater. This question is not great as it takes a personification a bit too literally. The term Mother Nature is a metaphorical and symbolic expression. As I said, it personifies nature in a nurturing and life-giving force, similar to the way a mother cares for her children. This concept has deep roots in many cultures and mythologies, where nature is often seen as a maternal figure responsible for growth, fertility, and sustenance. Let me touch on a few points. The idea of Mother Nature comes from various ancient traditions and mythologies. Many cultures personify nature as the motherly figure because of her role providing and sustaining life. To my previous example in Greek mythology, Gaia is the personification of the earth and is often referred to as the mother of all life, though something tells me that AM doesn't actually believe that there is a goddess named Gaia. Calling nature mother emphasizes her nurturing and life-giving qualities. It's a way to express our dependence on nature for survival, much like children depend on their mothers. In the metaphorical sense, there is no father of nature because Mother Nature is not a literal being, but a symbolic representation. If one were to look for the paternal counterpart in mythologies, it would depend on the specific cultural context. For example, like I said, in Greek mythology, Uranus is sometimes considered the father of Gaia's children. The use of mother and father in cultural and natural contexts is common. For example, Father Time is another metaphorical figure representing the passage of time. These terms are used to personify and give human attributes to abstract concepts to make them more relatable and understandable. So maybe the father is Father Time. I'm not sure because the question doesn't make much sense when you think about it. Well, I was wondering when we'd get to a question like that, but I'll be honest, that one was a new one to me. I hope the questions don't stay like this. Let's check question 4.
Questions for atheists. If God doesn't exist, God the Father, God the Son, Jesus Christ, God the Holy Spirit,
and Satan or the devil doesn't exist, then heaven doesn't exist, and hell doesn't exist. Then good doesn't exist, and evil doesn't exist. So why then do you try to live a good life? Because doesn't that mean ultimately that you believe in something higher than yourself and you believe in an afterlife? That is the question.
Really, this is actually two questions, so I'm going to separate them and address them one at a time. Basically, if the Christian God doesn't exist, good and evil don't exist, so why do you try to live a good life? There are lots of reasons why I try to live a good life. Initially, I would say that I don't try to live a good life, I just do. I'm a determinist. I don't believe humans have free will. While I think that it can appear that we're making choices, ultimately it is our brains following the laws of nature and chemistry. It is very complex, and that is a ridiculously short explanation. It's much deeper than that, but this question isn't really about that. It's about why be good if you're an atheist. Now I have several videos up where I talk about morality and how atheists can have morality in many different ways. So I don't want to take too long, so as briefly as I can, I'll touch on 6 different points. Humans are social animals, and cooperative behaviors have been crucial for our survival. Traits such as empathy, altruism, and fairness can enhance group cohesion and increase the chances of survival for individuals within the group. Evolutionary processes have therefore favored the development of these behaviors, which we now recognize as components of morality. Over time, human societies have developed systems of morality and ethics to promote harmonious living. Laws, norms, and moral codes have evolved to ensure societal stability, cooperation, and the well-being of community members. These systems often promote virtues like honesty, kindness, and justice, which are valuable regardless of religious belief. Many people find that living a good life provides intrinsic satisfaction and a sense of fulfillment. Acts of kindness, compassion, and integrity can lead to personal happiness and a sense of purpose, independent of religious considerations. From a practical standpoint, being good to others can create a positive environment and foster mutual support. When people act ethically and treat others well, they're more likely to receive similar treatment in return. This reciprocal altruism helps build trust and cooperation within communities. In a social species like humans, reputation matters. Acting ethically can enhance one's reputation, leading to better social relationships and opportunities. Conversely, unethical behaviors can lead to social ostracism and negative consequences, which most people seek to avoid. Many philosophical traditions and secular ethical systems provide robust frameworks for understanding and practicing morality without reference to the supernatural. Humanism, for example, emphasizes human welfare and the importance of human values, advocating for ethical behavior based on reason, empathy, and concern for others. In summary, striving to live a good life can be rooted in a variety of factors. These factors demonstrate that morality and ethics can be meaningful and significant even in the absence of religious beliefs. Now for the second part of the question. Because doesn't that mean ultimately you believe in something higher than yourself and you believe in an afterlife? No. Believing in the importance of living a good life does not necessarily imply belief in something higher than oneself or in an afterlife. I brought up 6 points in the first part, so here are 6 points for this one. Many people strive to be good simply because they believe it is the right thing to do. Ethical behavior can be motivated by a commitment to principles like kindness, fairness, and justice, rather than belief in a higher power or afterlife. Secular humanism emphasizes the value and agency of human beings individually and collectively. It focuses on the here and now, advocating for human welfare, ethical living, and the betterment of society without relying on these supernatural beliefs. Philosophers such as Immanuel Kant have argued that ethical behavior can be grounded in reason and duty. Kant's concept of the categorical imperative suggests that we should act according to principles that we would want to be universal laws, which provides a rational basis for morality independent of divine command. Human empathy and compassion drive us to care for others and act ethically. These qualities can be cultivated and exercised without reference to a higher power, simply out of recognition of our shared humanity and the impact of our actions on others. Acting in accordance with one's values and principles can provide a sense of integrity and self-respect. Many people find that living a good life aligns with their internal sense of who they are and who they want to be, independent of external beliefs or rewards. Ethical living contributes to personal and social well-being. It can foster trust, cooperation, and positive relationships, all of which are essential for a healthy and fulfilling life. These benefits are immediate and tangible rather than deferred to an afterlife. If nothing else, I will respond by presenting this. This is one of my favorite pictures from all of the Final Fantasy franchise. It is from Final Fantasy IX, and for those of you just listening, it says, "You don't need a reason to help people." I don't need a reason or justification for why I do good things, and neither do you, nor does anyone else. We can just be good people without the carrot and stick. Well, I was waiting for a tired apologetic to show up, and there it was. I hope question 5 is better.
Questions for atheists. If God doesn't exist, why can't you control your own life? Why can't you control every outcome in your life? Why can't you have every person act the way you want them to act? Why can't you have everything that you want to have? Why can't you control every outcome in your life? That is the question.
This is actually several questions. Well, he repeated one of those questions, so I'm guessing that is what he's looking for the answer to. Everything else seems to be something that would follow from that, so I'll address that one. The question is, why can't you control every outcome in your life? To answer directly, I would probably say for the same reason you can't either. We are physical beings in a physical universe. As physical beings in a physical universe, there are many naturalistic reasons why we can't control every outcome in our lives. We exist within a universe governed by natural laws, such as gravity, thermodynamics, and principles of causality. These laws are descriptive, meaning that they describe how things behave, and we're bound by them. For example, we can't fly unaided because our bodies are subject to gravity and lack the physical structures necessary for flight. The universe and our lives are highly complex systems with countless interacting variables. Small changes can have unpredictable and far-reaching effects, like the butterfly effect, making it impossible to control every detail. Even with the best planning, unforeseen events and interactions can alter outcomes. As humans, we have physical, cognitive, and emotional limitations. Our understanding and knowledge are finite, and our abilities to predict and influence events are constrained. We can't foresee every consequence or manage every variable in our lives. We live in a social world where our actions and outcomes are influenced by the actions and decisions of others. Each person colloquially has their own free will, desires, and goals, which can conflict with ours. This interdependence means we can't control others or ensure that they act in ways that align with our wishes. Some events are fundamentally random or influenced by chance. From genetic mutations to natural disasters, many factors lie outside human control and can significantly impact our lives. There are countless external factors that influence our lives, such as economic conditions, political decisions, natural disasters, and societal changes. These factors can affect our opportunities, resources, and outcomes in ways we can't fully control. All of these things are why we can't control every outcome in our lives. I would say, however, that by understanding these inherent limitations, we can focus on what we can control, our responses, our efforts, our attitudes. While we can't control every outcome, we can strive to make the best decisions within our capabilities and adapt to the challenges and uncertainties of life. I will admit, this is another new question for me. I don't think it is necessarily a good or important question, nor is it limited to atheists. You could ask the same question to a deist. You could ask this to probably everyone and get similar answers. Take the religious context out of this and ask your Christian friends when they're not at church or generally talking about the Bible. Just say it while you're hanging out, maybe driving in your car there. Just ask them, hey, why do you think it is that we can't control every single outcome of our lives? And see what they have to say. Because if you take the God glasses off, you can see that the world operates according to its own principles and dynamics, which affect everyone regardless of their beliefs. Now that one wasn't too bad, but there's still 2 more. Let's move on to question 6.
Questions for atheists. Why won't you just let Jesus heal you? Why won't you just receive Jesus? That is the question.
Why won't you let Darth Vader teach you the ways of the Force? Why don't you just drink from Mimir's well? Why don't you set up a marble altar to Zeus so you don't get struck by lightning? This is a pretty insulting question for atheists and believers in non-Christian religions. First of all, I don't need healing because I'm not damaged. And even if I was, and AM's mythology was true, his God made people. And not only that, this God made people knowing what would happen, knowing they would fail, knowing that they need healing. If AM's God exists, then it is that God's faulty design that is why I am in need of healing. But I need to take a step back for a moment. I don't need to get worked up over this. I understand that this question likely comes from a place of genuine belief and concern for my well-being, but I find it important to clarify my perspective. Here is why I don't seek healing or salvation from Mr. Jesus. First and foremost, I don't subscribe to Christian beliefs, and for me, the concept of receiving healing or salvation from Mr. Jesus does not align with my understanding of the world. My sense of well-being and morality is rooted in my own values and principles, rather than religious doctrines. Just as I respect AM's faith and his right to practice it, I hope he could understand and respect my perspective. Each person's spiritual or non-spiritual journey is deeply personal, and it's important to honor that individuality. I do not view myself as in need of spiritual healing or salvation. I find fulfillment and purpose in my life through other means, such as personal growth, relationships, and contributing to the well-being and education of others. Even if I was in some need of some kind of healing, people find healing and meaning in many different ways. For some, it's through religion. For others, it's through philosophy, science, art, or nature. My path is simply different from AM's, and that's okay. For any theists watching who may believe in Mr. Jesus, please don't ever ask a question like this to people who don't believe what you do. It will not help your case. It will likely just drive a wedge between you and the other person. I didn't think there would have been a worse question than the "who is the father of nature" one, but here we go. He managed to insult atheists with this one. Though, benefit of the doubt, I will proceed as if he didn't mean to insult us. Let's just move on to the final question. It can't get worse, right?
As of June 30th, 2014, Dictionary.com declares the word church to mean a building for public Christian worship of God, or a religious service in such a building. The whole body of Christian believers, any denomination of this body professing the same creed and acknowledging the same ecclesiastical authority, a Christian denomination. Questions for atheists: if God does not exist, Jesus does not exist, the Holy Spirit does not exist, the Bible is not real, then why are you trying to establish atheist churches? That is the question.
It seems like AM is trying to say that the term church is exclusive to Christianity, that it's their word and we can't use it to describe something other than the way they say it does. This argument falls right in my wheelhouse as a linguist. First of all, words have multiple meanings, as you just saw. I don't know what the site said in 2014, but today it has very similar meanings on it. But if you go down to the last one, lucky number 13, you can see it says, any non-Christian religious society, organization, or congregation, or its place of worship. And it even gives the example of a Satanist church, which the overwhelming majority of are atheists of some stripe as well. Dictionaries don't give prescriptive meanings. They give common usages. Language changes over time. Words can have different meanings depending on a lot of factors. Words are shortcuts used to express concepts. Church is a recognizable word, and the concept of an atheist church can appeal to people who have left the Christian religion and are not sure how to regain the community that they lost. These things can help. So while I don't know anyone trying to establish an atheist church, I was able to find an article from the UK on theweek.com from 2018 talking about them. Apparently, at the time there were 55 of them across Britain, continental Europe, North America, and Australia. So sure, I'm fine saying that some atheists are trying to establish atheist churches. I don't know any, but that's not necessarily relevant. The article has an excellent quote saying in response to if they can really be called churches, and if there are any expected objectors. Quote, only someone who already feels entitled to the Christian model and who doesn't understand why it might be a sacrilege to appropriate those forms and gestures would assume as much. End quote. Of course, this is such a myopic question. Why would an atheist want to establish a Sunday assembly? To answer that, I can ask, what are some of the benefits of church? Just as religious communities gather for worship, fellowship, and mutual support, non-religious people also seek community and connection. These gatherings, sometimes called atheist churches, provide a space for like-minded individuals to come together, share experiences, and support one another. Atheist and secular communities often come together to promote shared values such as compassion, human rights, scientific inquiry, and ethical living. These gatherings provide opportunities for education, discussion, and community service, fostering a sense of purpose and belonging. Social support and a sense of community are important for mental and emotional health. Secular gatherings offer a space for people to find support, form friendships, and engage in activities that promote well-being, similar to the role religious communities play for their members. Many secular groups organize cultural, social, and recreational activities which help build a sense of community and provide enjoyable and meaningful experiences for participants. These activities can include lectures, volunteer work, social events, and many more things. Secular communities often strive to be inclusive and welcoming to people from diverse backgrounds and beliefs. They provide a space where individuals can feel accepted and valued without the need for religious affiliation. So while atheist and secular gatherings may use terms like church for convenience or metaphorical purposes, their primary focus is on fostering community, shared values, and mutual support. These gatherings provide similar social and emotional benefits to those found in religious communities, but without the religious doctrines and beliefs. And that's it for his questions. So what were the actual questions? Here they are in order. Feel free to pause. Anyone who is interested, please comment below with your answers. Do you agree with my assessments here? Or do you think my answers leave something out you think should be included? Or maybe you think I'm just flat wrong when I said something? Let me know in the comments. That's it for this one. So what do you think? Do you think these questions are good questions that no atheist in 10 years have answered? Or do you think that there's some bias on AM's part? Let me know in the comments below. I really do like answering questions, so if you have any questions, please feel free to reach out to me in the comments section. Or my Discord has a specific chat for questions for me. A link to that is also in the description. Or if you don't want to ask so publicly, you can send me an email, darkofalltrades@gmail.com. I'll put that in the description as well. If you appreciated the detailed work that went into the answers here, you can show that by hitting the like button. Though you can get even more answers delivered directly to your YouTubes by way of more of my videos by hitting that subscribe if you haven't already. Speaking of showing gratuitous appreciation, I need to do so by thanking my patrons: Calamus Anima, Sora, Long-Haired Lefty, Musical Ocelot, Ooga Booga Luga, Anonymous Netizen, Tyrek Alkazab, Gemabomb, Kai Henningsen, and Triple Towel. If my channel was a test, you are all the A+ at the top. You all inspire me to study so I can ace the next one. Thank you. If you would like to be part of the next answer sheet, you can join them for as low as $1 a month at patreon.com/darkofalltrades. This will also give you better access to me, as I always check my patrons' messages first, as well as give you access to more of my content, like my Arguments Against God series, which is not public on the YouTubes. All of you that have made it this far, hang out with me in the live chat, or just listen to me while you drive to work, I really appreciate you. You have been a beacon of positivity, and your encouragement really does keep me going. Thank you. I'll be back in the live chat next week, so come hang out. And as always, keep learning.